name is Greg Cajete. I'm from Santa Clara, Pueblo, and currently I am director of the Native American Studies program here at the University of New Mexico. It's my pleasure this afternoon to share my thoughts and perspectives with regard to ethics and indigenous thought as it relates to business. Some of the thoughts I have really are a result of the work that I've been doing in my own research as an indigenous scholar, particularly in the area of the ecological perspectives of indigenous people as they relate to relationship to land, to community, to each other. And within that context of relationship and perspective, the kinds of insights I've developed, I think, have not only implications for creating new forms of education or new approaches to education in a contemporary sense, but also to create a new way of thinking, I think, about business and doing business in the context of this work.
Relationship is the core. It's more important than profit, and it's more important than happiness. So at the end of the day, that we go away from any interaction realizing that we are learning and growing together, and that the relationship, even in the face of tension, is held in the highest esteem, even when we might feel personally a little bit unhappy about the results along the way. The other piece of that is that that relationship includes the earth, the stones, the trees, the plants, the animals, all of nature, and humans as a part of that. It's important that we understand ourselves as a detail of the whole.
One of the things that my research has sort of brought forward in this context has been around the issue of mutual reciprocal behavior. Some of those ideas of taking only what you need for your own purposes from the natural world, leaving the natural world as intact as possible. And when you did take something, having a ceremony or a ritual perspective of the idea that you're borrowing something from the natural world and that you should give, in a sense, something in return. So this idea of mutual reciprocal relationality is very much a part of the ethical development and perspectives of indigenous people historically in communities.
Relationship really lives together with the idea of gifting and non-acquisition and usefulness, and the way that an egalitarian way of being together in community, and trust and disclosure and barter systems, all of these actually are embodiments of relationship and how we are in a web of relationship. I actually work with an organization right now that I feel does understand these concepts. So yeah, I think so. I think it's possible, and I think it makes success look really different. Right now, I'm working with the National Park Service on their relevancy committee and advisory board. And one of the things we're working on is building relationships with the communities that surround the park, so that the communities are part of the sustainable evolution of the park, of each national park.
An example that's often given with regard to mutual reciprocal behavior would be, a classic example is the potlatch that many tribes in the Northwest practice and continue to practice today, in which the goal is not to accumulate wealth, but actually the goal and the value is to be able to give as much wealth away as possible, knowing and understanding that somewhere in this continuum of mutual reciprocal behavior, that you will then be given much of what you gave away, maybe in some new forms, you would be given that back.
Being in a relationship means being in it for the long haul. And if I know you're in it for the long haul, when tensions arise and you're still there, I begin to trust you. I see that trust is a byproduct of being in a healthy relationship and being relationship focused. I love tension. I think that tension is the creative edge. And I think that tension is a generative resource that we have very much underutilized. I don't think that conflict is useful. So I'm really interested in tension as a generative resource for the evolution of life on the planet. I think if we let our minds think about tension in that way, we engage in less conflict. And so when conflict comes up, we can separate it from generative tension. So I like to separate those two words. With what I was saying in the beginning about non-human centered, there is something about seeing human relationship as a part of a whole set of relationships that are informed by and nourished by the natural world. There's something about nature always being at the table in any relationship. It's a part of it. That when we focus only on the humans in a relationship, we actually diminish our capacity for creativity. Actually, I don't think it's necessary to bring nature in because we are nature. So I start with us breathing and the fact that the trees are breathing us. And so nature's in the room because we're breathing. And we don't need to bring anything. It's already there. And if we start there, then it gives us a different relationship to the green, to the standing people, to the trees, to the grasses. I'm actually seeing nature as my collaborator and my teacher and my partner in all of it, and that I'm a detail of that nature.
So not being separate from nature, being related to each other, mutual reciprocal behavior, are all connected in that kind of ecological web of thinking about, if you will, a new contemporary business paradigm.